Right now, animal shelters across the nation are filling up fast, and one shelter in the upstate is taking steps to clear those cages, and you can help them do that. Fox Carolina's Lindsey Gibbs is live this morning to tell us how.
Hey, good morning, Margaret Ann. And this is something that they're seeing nationally as far as animal shelters really getting full to the point where they're not able to house any more animals. And that's why we're here at Greenville County Animal Care. They're doing an event all week long where you're able to do adoptions, but they're going to waive the fee for you. Now, you can see some of the little animals at play right behind me. And there's a lot of animals here that are looking to be adopted in all week long. It's all going to be free. Now, this comes after shelters are really seeing an increase in animals. And Greenville County Animal Care says that they've already seen an intake between 3,500 and 4,000 since January, causing Greenville County Animal Care to no longer accept animals from Spartanburg County, which they've done for the last 10 years. And we checked in on what would happen to the animals here belonging to Spartanburg. Spartanburg County Animal Care has posted a statement to their Facebook about the transition of animals back to their shelters, reading in part, quote, "Over the past months, we've begun preliminary discussions with our community partners about this transition, as well as best shelter operations practices as we work to ensure permanent, safe, and appropriate housing for our animals." They say one way you can help give shelters relief is by adopting.
Absolutely. So if somebody comes in to adopt, that adoption is going to include that animal spay or neuter surgery. It's going to include a microchip, and they'll be fully up to date with all age-appropriate vaccines.
Now, officials at smaller shelters really encourage that you check adoption policies as well. Some may not let you return the animal once you've already adopted it, and they really don't want to see overcrowding of the smaller shelters having to intake those dogs as well. Here at Greenville Animal County Cares, you are able to adopt the dog for up to 30 days and then decide if you want to keep it or not. Of course, we're now reporting in Greenville. Lindsey Gibbs, Fox Carolina News.